And the sky, the landscape where they are, is constantly changing. By the king. Photography and private language continue to get closer to the illusory temple. The closer we get, the faster the landscape changes. That's amazing. But not out of the mind. This battle of magic. It's in the eyes of the yellow guy. It doesn't exist at all. He said he could set up a spiritual enchantment. I don't know if it's real or fake. It must be cutting the wind. He still couldn't believe the photographer's words. I thought the three people who had just gone now were going deeper. They were outside the palace. The tall stone pillars folding shoes, entangled in the tiled courtyard, to create a majestic appearance. The photographer told the two of them that in front is the outer palace. Name from now on. I can feel that scary atmosphere. Outside the palace, he also did not dare to be rude. Even talking becomes more reserved. I kept observing the situation and thinking. In this illusory palace, it is said that there is still the will of that great power. Think after a while. The photographer turned to the detector. Words and no chewing death after going in still have to listen to the shouldn't go around. If you lose your life, don't blame me. They also feel the seriousness of the situation. Right now, I only know how to sweat and listen to the photographer. And then they went back inside. It took a few steps to stop. Suddenly they feel it. There's an airflow around this area. Outside the big columns. The king did not notice. Smashing the air on the right. He's in pain, and then I realize that's the air wall boundary. And why does Sao have this air wall? It's still a big question. While the chewy husband still hogs his face with pain, then the photographer suddenly moves forward. He started working on something. Catch the Dharma, and he drew the boundary with 2 fingers. A pile of Min Vintone symbols. Finished paint. The illusions began to glow and the LAN expanded. Full of boundaries. Then the boundary fluttered. Then it breaks. It's so strong that it cracks. Kier's huge stone columns were also affected. It breaks apart and comes to the boundary. I can't take it anymore. Near the photographer, he saw a small crack in the wall. Then the crack cracked. Expansion Ra forms an escape. The exit was not closed yet. The photographer shouted to invoke the motto and unchew the boundary of death. The room is open. Come on in. The two of them are confused. Was woken up by the photographer's words. Hurry up and pull together. All 3 of them cross the Kier exit. After passing through the boundary exit, the air wall is also closing. The stone statues couldn't stand to collapse. Make a big break thundered every time. Pass it out. The fake power's outside. If you see changes in the inside, everyone has an OI. Doesn't understand what the hell is going on. The man who recognized the mountain had fallen. They keep staring at each other. Ask each other Chang-esque questions. What's going on? What's going on? Now, there's a guy looking up at the sky and he's screaming. The magic of the soul has been destroyed. See the opportunity right in front of you. They are ready to move in. So we hurried to talk to each other. Then one of them gave an immediate order. Send your subordinates to inform the elders that the battle outside the palace has been destroyed. Send reinforcements quickly. The subordinate received the order to run away immediately. Thien Nguyen enchanted Kier soul. It finally completely collapsed. Now the game is just a mess. Each of the strong waves is like broken water and rushing up. Their screams seem to shake the earth. Even if it's 1,000 miles away, you can hear it clearly. They're screaming and screaming. The goddess of illusion is in front. I thought the destination was right in front of me. But the boundary air wall. Outside the palace, There are still some people who don't know. I hit my face with a pain. A guy who was beaten up. He wondered what this was. There's also a boundary layer here. The others in the back stopped. Looks like this isn't the first time they've been here. They're talking to each other. Outside the temple. It's a very solid boundary. Basically, we can't break it. I thought the magic was destroyed. You can finally enter the Temple of Illusion. They urge each other. Quickly think how. Come on, we can't get in here. Long Thien Min also ran out of ways to stand, embracing his helpless face. The name Long Six exclaims Long Thien Min, young master. Not expect God's power has been destroyed by others. There's no need to say, Long Thien Min also guessed. It's the AI that broke this banana battle. But the photographer. They go into nature in the spirit world. It must have been the three of them who broke the law. Long Thien Min told Long Six, maybe they're already inside. The 6-year-old was shocked to the core. And the death of the dead. Getting closer and closer to the illusory palace. But they suddenly stopped. The face shows wonder. A little bit of fear. On the heads of 3 people. They're a giant ferocious beast. I can stand to say no. This is a fast-moving predator. I saw my husband standing there. The king is in a hurry to stop looking. They're all dragons. We are absolutely not for them. I also see the situation is serious. Hurry up, the photographer. The photographer is smiling. As if he'd found a way to fight this beast. Tell the 2 of you to calm down. No need to take care of the animals. The king was amazed. In the face of the photographer's disdain, he said, the animals are coming. You said you don't care. Do you want to die? The photographer calmly said a short sentence that is fiction. But Han kept raising his head to the sky. Look at the image of the Kier villains. They're getting bigger and bigger. Then he swung his hand. Immediately, the electric sparks flashed on the body. The Kier beast, the King Chu death, and the motto now understood. All 3 of them breathed a sigh of relief. They try to close their eyes and wait for what happens. Next up are the giant beasts. I walked through 13 of them. But 01 AI is not hurt. Now the king opened his eyes. Just as the photographer said. All of this stuff is just fiction. The king wondered. I turned to the photographer and asked, why does he know that the Kier beasts are only illusory? The rapist must have used some method. By the wild beasts in the picture. It doesn't look any different from the real thing. The photographer said to himself, this is a method of discrimination. You probably didn't think of it either. So that's it. I'm not talking. Go away. The king of the dead sounds like he wants to die. Say even if you don't think. But you have to know a little. The photographer's bluffing right now. Where is the time to explain to you? Wait until you get out. Then I will tell you. Say the words and move forward. Continue their journey into their illusory palace. The king begged the queen not to. But he thought again. His original intention was to get out. We'll kill them. He mused for a moment, but I'm afraid this yellow feather didn't just kill him. It is impossible to be guilty of such a person. Not kill him. The story of blood love is revealed. You have to do something. The photographer over here seems to see something. He smiles with a sinister smile. Then the 3 of them went straight to the palace door. It's a circuit that goes directly into the hall. Without any fear. Death is a time of panic. This photographer, do you know what power this is? Just go in there. The photographer turned out to confirm with King Chui the celestial power of this throne. You can also feel it in the distance. There are treasures in this temple. Finished talking, he asked the two of them to come inside. The king chewing cabinet heard two words treasure. It's as fast as cutting into the heavens. On the contrary, the motto is not in a hurry. Three of them arrived. Everyone's eyes lit up and admired. Go deeper. The golden chests appeared before their eyes. They a lot. I see that in death. I feel and run up. To touch a bone. It was stopped by the photographer. Stop trying to find death. The pain of being pulled back by the photographer. He cried out for an hour. It's hard to understand why he asked the photographer. The photographer explained the writing on the ground on the wall. On the stone pillar, it's all the magic of heaven. Once you go around, these illusions will turn into an invisible chain. Lock you up directly. They'll make you breathless. Finally, the lights went out and he died. Let us not talk about the transition as a fake. But even long cycle, the scene was directly locked to death. I finished listening to death. There's a lot of clutter around me that scares me. The king hesitated to ask if we could overcome Sao. Photographer not only does not answer, tell him to look at it for a while. He also kept looking around. Then he asked again, maybe we don't have a way to open this ocean. All around the oceans there's celestial energy. Asserting that the treasure in it is not simple. I was stupid to ignore those treasures. The mayor said I can't walk around. But I'm not saying we can't get it. I told you about this place. Everything must be heard according to my word. Then he turned to death. Let's start putting this guy into the plan. Ask if you can get the treasure. How should we divide? If we split each one in half, we won't do it. The king chewed death in his heart, even if he didn't want to, but it's because you need a solution. So he reluctantly accepted. He said you should choose first. You can take 6 parts. He thought a lot. When you get out of here, you're going to kill the photographers. The photographer also did not say who chooses first and chooses later. I counted again. In this manuscript of heaven, there are a total of 26 gold coins. We don't know what's hidden inside. The person who opens the object inside Ra belongs to that person. How do you feel? Stop thinking about yourself for a while. He also goes back. It's fair to both him and the rebels. He agrees. The photographer got a good signal. Keep talking. Next, listen to my commander. Go forward 7 steps. Go to the right 3 steps. Then go 6 steps forward. Each step is 3 steps apart. Listen to the photographer discharge a lot. I want to be silly. He asked if that was really possible. You're not lying to me. The police are confident that they will kill you. We don't benefit either. Even if you get the treasure, based on our VI, you will also be robbed by others. We're not going to do something that's stupid. Death is over. He replied to himself and also trusted the regent more. He laughed for an hour and said, of course, the 2 worlds of fate have no protection. You will die out the door. When he finished, he did as the photographer said. He carefully made every gesture, according to the photographer's instructions. Ask carefully over and over again, step by step. Flirting for a while. Finally, the king also came to the golden bone. He couldn't help but shout. When he began to touch the ocean intended to open. Then suddenly that ocean shook. And then he took the form of a gilded soldier. He stood motionless and watched the ocean unfold. He hasn't even considered the situation. Now the bone has gained momentum. Get ready to stick. Give him a punch. He is now reborn. Who trembled, but could not run. I thought he was going to eat the whole thing. The cold snap of metal into his mouth. But no, he's reacting instantly. For the chest in the shape of the Kier soldier. A blow to remember life. Every part of it starts to break apart. The king breathed pink with anger. He threatened to kill me. Then his hand pointed at the demon Yang just now. Then he continued, there is no treasure in this ocean. A little more he was destroyed by this demon. The photographer is not worried. The opposite. They say that this is the owner of the temple. I'm kidding you. Tell the king to stand still. Don't move any more. And he kept letting the motto go up. King Chui Death, feel the power of the bones. Be careful to remind the devil in the bone. This is a real power transition. You only have the power of God. Not afraid of being killed. This time let me. But the photographer quickly dismissed his opinion. The photographer said, the first bone rule is open. You dare to take a step. Making sure you die will be difficult. Just open the second one. You can continue in. I finished listening to it and was amazed. Finished speaking the phrase. Your motto is follow me. Title agree. And then she started to move forward step by step, according to the photographer. The first is to take the standard of direction now. Then go forward, ba. Step to the left, 6 back, 2 to the left, ba. Motto carefully follow the words of the regent. It finally came before the ocean. Carefully sit down in front of your face. We are full of stress. 2 hands ready to put on the lid and slowly open the bone raw. Death is also sitting there. Look closely at the action of the words on the side. As soon as the motto opens the ocean, inside the ocean glowed with all its eyes. It's so bright. Make the motto to cover your eyes with your hands. Then she looked carefully inside the bone. She was amazed to say that this is the diamond star. It can be so much. Inside the bone, there are thousands of bright yellow stones. The phrase just ended. Unexpected Death said, Venus is an extremely rare object. It can be used as a normal spiritual stone. A crystal metamorphic block, equivalent to more than 100 oryx blocks. Equivalent to 100,000 ordinary spirit stones. It can also be used to protect air. Forged gas protection is at least 8 products, 9 products. Now, the phrase also understands the mind of non-Chui Death. Immediately replied, even if it's a crystal, it's extremely rare. More than 10 blocks. You want to take everything. The king thought silently, even though the things in it are ours sooner or later. Now let them get a little more done. The king hurriedly told the 2 of them to hurry up. I don't want to open the third one. It's my turn to open it. Then he followed the rules. It's like opening those 2 bones. Walk carefully, step by step, he thought. Heaven Shine Min Literature Battle. In my previous life, I studied thoroughly. Where there are traps and where it is safe, I know. If you take a step back, you'll be fooled. Take the wrong step and get killed. Then why act? Look, the king is still very confused. Finished thinking, it is also the time to go to the third. He stopped in front of the ocean. He carefully sat down. In my head, still not out of thought. This place is in the Civil War. It's a very important location. The surrounding is full of traps. The most important treasure in this paradise. It's in here. He watched carefully. The civilizations painted outside that ocean. He saw that the painting on it was the court. When he was done, he used 2 fingers to hold his hand. Then start the solution. The battle on the bone also began to change. The act of the photographer, immediately subject to the phrase, and without chewing death notice. Both of them were surprised to watch. Suddenly, that bone fluttered. Then the photographer gently opened the Yang Ra lid. See this scene. I admire the skill of the photographer. Writing is so complicated. Even we can't solve it. But you heard the king talking about it. The photographer opened the lid of the Yang Ra. The treasures in it give off light, stronger than the ocean by open words. The light came out of that chest. Light up the sky. It's brighter than a high-pressure bulb. You have to cover your eyes with your hands. The king of death said, the celestial power is so dense. It's an absolutely formidable treasure. They lit up for a while and then suddenly went out. The photographer is not surprised to see the treasure in the bone with your own eyes. What treasure does he think it is? It's clear that there's such an abundance of celestial energy. The photographer says this is not trivial. Take it back into the 10,000 Lai San, Hadu Cho. Even if it's not worth it, it's worth it. Then the photographer quickly put it inside. Then make a straight face and stand up. King Chui saw that the photographer only looked at the treasure a little. Then hurry up, immediately stunned. I haven't seen you yet. What treasure was finally found? Why did you put it away so quickly? The photographer waving his hands. It's just ordinary stuff. Can't look. Death at this time. Of course, I don't believe what the photographer says. He secretly thought when the ocean is open, there is such a big movement. This guy is fooling kids. And then he thought he wouldn't do anything. After a while, everything belongs to him. He thought the same song, happy to ask about the next one. Can he open it? The photographer is also enthusiastic. Point to the third one on the left. His desk over there opened Yang. The king also listened to the king. Just follow the rules just now and be careful. Move on to the ocean. Move to 6. He finally came before the ocean. Slowly sit down. It was like opening a flag in his stomach. Use 2 hands to carefully open the Yang Ra. Open Yang Ra nothing but a trick. He's so pissed he's going to smash that ocean. And tried 6 times in the debris of the ocean. I hope there's something of value left. But no, the more hope you hold, the more hope you get. He kept looking for something. Han bucket of blood pointed hands to the young man blame. Surely you mean it here. The photographer seems innocent. They say that they want to play bad. He said more than 20 Bao Yang have not been opened. We know what's inside what we said. Everyone opens one. It all depends on luck. On the other hand, it's just been written. Even if I give it to you, you're not sure you opened it either. The motto here also implicitly understands the photographer's plan. She had a smile of apprehension and no words. There's no arguing, and he also thinks the treasure belongs to him anyway. He said, okay, I won't fight with you anymore. I can see the resignation of the dead. He also thought that such a small-time loser. But not crazy. Be prepared to leave the temple. He will handle us. Even though SAO treasures are collected by me in thousands of Lai Sun heap. Then withdraw your thoughts. Not to spend more time, the photographer went on to open another chest. Have fun listening and move on. The slogan is open. To get a food armor. The phrase that this book is worth tens of thousands of dollars. If you can see it, you will enjoy it. But he gets bored very quickly, because he hasn't opened any valuables yet. It is the power of the photographer. He opened a sword. His face couldn't help but enjoy. Is to spend 7 products. The king now looks at their stuff. He's fascinated. Directly recover the item. In thousands of Li Sun, a map, but he pretended to put it back in the ocean. Then, he turned around and told me to open the next ocean. Here, the king continues to open the 7th poplar. It's no different than the other 2. The 3rd thing he opened didn't make a dent. Again, a fucking puppet like the first trunk. And he broke the chest with his discharge. I see that in my heart outside. Stupid face with a surprised face said a sentence. The weather of your death is really not good. 3 in a row are puppets. The king heard this photographer. The more angry. He was so angry. Some time has passed. Half of them are open. There are only results that are received. It remains unchanged. He stings the 5 yangs are all puppets. If you know soon enough, divide by person. Then he turned his eyes to the photographer. The king knows this photographer is deliberately playing tricks on me, but he can't do anything. Here's a great quote to tell the photographer. Our luck is also NDTO is a treasure. If you open the puppet, you're dead. The photographer also laughed at the same motto. Then he said, give me all your treasures first. When I come back, I will give it back to you. The motto has no opinion. She also agreed to let the photographer take care of her. Then they exchanged treasures. In the presence of the dead. Then the king called and said, your luck was too bad just now. Can't get anything. The remaining 10 pieces will be given to you. To chew death in amazement. I don't understand why this photographer. It's naturally generous. He asked me how I would go. 10 males only. It can't be all puppets. Also consider having a conscience. If you think 10, he opened 9. They're all puppets. It's a bad thing not to say Ra. Don't get carried away. To the 10th king chewing death, almost out of hope. He's going to break the bone again. But I realized it's not a puppet anymore. That, now, there's a crystal inside. 2 stones God chain blood. The photographer here sees it. He encouraged me to say a word. See out harvest also NDTO. Ocean is open. The booty is clear. The king was asked to chew death and death. Listen to me. Bring all the open ocean back to the beginning. I don't understand the intentions of the photographer. Ask them why they have to do that. The photographer replied soon. There will be a lot of people going into the illusory temple. These chests, that can help us reduce a little bit. The competitors. King chewable natural death. To show mercy again, he hesitated to say. However, doing so is a bit of a German. The photographer continues. If you don't act first, the dead are us. Come out quickly. The phrase over here. I totally agree with Regent's plan. 3 of them started with 1 leg each. Cleaning the chests back to their original state. The king of death is probably the hardest. Because Yang Ra was too spicy before. So he knocked most of the positive open. Now he has to sit. Restore them as they were. I think that's a shame too. A long time later, finally, the 3 of them also cleaned up the scene. The illusory palace scene is still quiet now. Like when the 3 of them set foot. The king did not know where he had just come from. He was looking for a room in heaven. Found 60,000 blocks of spirit stones. The flower is prosperous. There's no one here listening to him. But continue to exchange treasures with each other. We will share these with you. Take me first. She said it with a motto, and she still agree. The king watched the 2 of them exchange. Then he looked admiringly. Your brother means a lot. If I get the treasure, I will give it to you. Photographer replied, I'm not going to give him back. The king told the photographer that, good brother like that, you must treat him well. The photographer turned to look at the motto, smile and speak confidently, of course, over here. I was embarrassed to hear it all over my face. I don't know what to say in response to the words of the dead. Then the photographer told us, okay, let's not go outside. I've found the way to you. Follow me. Take them all with you. And then he pointed to a stone door and he said here, my son is excited. He asked if he could enter the building. The photographer replied, the whole Phantom Palace is a giant battle. The building has more than 100 stone doors. And this stone door is the door. So this stone door is of course the entrance. I can't believe I asked so many stone doors. How do you know that this place is sacred? I don't look out either. The whole illusory court is the magic. He added, even though I don't like to study, but the lifeblood of our patriotic heritage. It also opened part. The photographer doesn't care much. Just talk to me and listen to me. He touched one hand on the stone wall. The stone wall moved and slowly opened. I was surprised to see my eyes wide open. The open door carries a strong lane. All three of them looked up. No more hesitation. The photographer told the two of us to go. After that, the photographer stepped in first. The words and the words. Then also follow. But when all three of them walked in, the door was automatically closed. In the great hall is a dark night. And the outside, the borders are making loud noises to shake the sky. People are like animals, are rumbling and breaking the boundaries. Each one looks, each different technique that attacks. The power of hundreds of people. It finally cracked the barrier. See your work. There were some people cheering and looking at the air raid. It's a watch. The boundary has finally been broken. A man shouted quickly. Electric holder has a protective floor. Power we keep stealing before the heavens and counting. He withdrew his words. All the fake powers start galloping straight into the illusory palace and started stealing treasures. The scene in the illusory palace is really chaotic. Every corner there are guys fighting. A chest with their screams. This side, Long Thien Min and Long Six were pushed by the crowd forever. Hasn't moved much yet. They are a little helpless. Long Thien Min now looked down from above. The chaos in front of me. There's not much hope. He told Long Six people too much. With our power, I can only steal a few stones. The flower is broken. It basically doesn't make any sense. Feel the current situation. Long Six asked Long Thien Min anxiously. So now we've got to do something about underpricing. Long Thien Min realized that the situation was so like he really doesn't have a plan. To meditate for a while, suddenly Long Thien Min felt the power of heaven. I said over there, the celestial power of the Kier Power Tower is extremely strong. I quickly told Long Six to follow me. The two of them rushed into the temple. Just landed. The time bag, Long Thien Min, was glistening with chests. It's amazing. It's not just him. So did the others who had just entered the temple. Then they rushed to fight. Those beds. This side, Long Thien Min and Long Six, do not like to give AI. They also quickly rushed to steal. But only a few steps. They all stopped suddenly. Then out, civilized allies shine under the heavens floor, lit up. Hold them down and explode. The bad guys don't understand. He was shot out. Long Six stupid people realized that just now was a trap. Then suddenly, the civilizations below the ground lit up, and then they turn into chains, tied together and tied up the people. They suddenly Tied bugs do not stop screaming bitterly. 6 saw that they were all tied up. He sees the next chain coming. The soldiers were in a hurry to worry about him. Not thinking about anything, I shouted carefully. He was bound to replace Long Thin Min. Long 6 was wrapped tightly around him. He screamed for an hour, and then, the chains hanging up from the ceiling. Long Thin Min still doesn't understand. What the hell is going on? He's talking in the middle of nowhere, not knowing what this is. He thinks he still shouldn't touch the 6 gear. Let him come back to life. After thinking about it, he carefully looked around the palace. After the last incident, Long Thin Min thought, to get these chests. It's not that easy. It's now on the outside of the illusory palace. Lovers are still waiting for their husbands. Each one seems to gather like ants moving their nests. People are talking about the story together. Suddenly, a guy with a face full of gas rushed into his eyes. It feels like a fire. One of them recognized him. The name to respectfully bow down the holy fire. We haven't investigated yet. Who opened the magic of the soul? I have not yet found a soul in the kingdom of God. Phoenix Palace. This holy man's cup. Hear that think, who can open up this man's spiritual enchantment? It's not that simple. He sent out men. Notify the inner legion. Round 2 hours. To seal off the illusory temple is not allowed. Leaving the temple of illusion. It's not just hard to give orders. He even threatened those who wanted to leave. Kill without mercy. The man obeyed orders and then stepped back. At this time, the Holy Spirit is upon you. The fire broke out. His eyes are also forest. In a loud voice, give orders to the patriotic subordinates. Let us all enter the temple of illusion with us. And then he shot straight for the illusory temple. It's like an asteroid crashing to the ground. After that, the followers also followed in turn. Over here, inside the hall, some guys are still talking loudly to each other. The fire god got some treasures. Don't forgive him. There's a guy in the sky talking. What, are you kidding? I don't know who started the war. In short, it's a fortune today. But this guy hasn't been happy for long. There was an object that was burning with fire. The Fire Lord's disciple was caught in the fire. He screamed bitterly. Then that is the holy fire. He's holding out his fists into the air. He said coldly, "Geoscience genius, strong people are told," then clasped his hand together with a loud bang. The fire god's disciple was blown up into a cloud of smoke. There are people hunting here. I can only see people. And yelled at him that he deserved to die. The letter ring, falling into the hands of the holy fire. They were surprised by his appearance. Ask why the holy fire is here. But the holy flame didn't say anything. He was so used to his reputation. When they saw the holy fire, they panicked. The fire god breathed coldly for a few hours. He's still burning up in flames. He continues to give orders for subordinates along this road. The people of the 6 gods. Kill without mercy. We all love God. You have to check the space ring. Anyone who hides it is determined to kill without mercy. The subordinates obey orders. Finished listen. A Fire Lord and his companions began to attack. He called out, "Kill all the gods." Finished talking to him. Are they a subordinate of the great masters yet? The Lord announced that they were coming. Then get the situation. The Holy Ghost continued as soon as they're coming, immediately for the phantasmagy of the illusory palace. Looking for students. The subordinates heard that. I can't help but obey the wind. At the same time, the fire god is also quickly supporting. Here's a guy speaking up. I just got the fire news.